In a land where the boundaries between worlds had become thin as gossamer, Dylan E.T., the Doom heretic hunter, stood poised at the threshold of a newly opened portal to hell. The air around him crackled with a foreboding energy, and a sanguine glow emanated from the rift, casting eerie shadows on the charred ground. His eyes, marked by a scar traversing his right eye, a testament to his acceptance of the conundrum of authority, gleamed with an intense resolve. From the depths of the infernal chasm emerged a demonic messenger, a harbinger of chaos, clad in twisted, baroque armor that shimmered with an unholy light. Its voice, a sinister amalgam of whispers and growls, slithered through the air. "Mortal, why do you tread upon the dominion of the damned? Speak, and prepare to meet your end." Dylan E.T., ever vigilant and unyielding, gripped the hilts of his twin estocs, Tempo and Rhythm. Each blade, a marvel of 3D-GR technology, hummed with potential energy, the number-color sides glowing in anticipation. He thumbed the intricate controls, setting the hilts to activate phonetic additive swordplay, ready to unleash the harmonious fury within. "Messenger of the Abyss," Dylan E.T. intoned, his voice steady and resonant, "I tread where I must, for I am the herald of righteous retribution. Your reign of terror shall end, and from your ashes, justice shall arise." With a swift motion, Dylan E.T. initiated the first combinatorial sequence, Red 1 and Yellow 2 activated, summoning the duet. Tempo and Rhythm moved in perfect synchrony, their blades tracing arcs of lethal precision. The demonic messenger parried, its infernal strength clashing with the divine purpose of Dylan's estocs. Sparks flew as steel met infernal alloy, each strike resonating with the cadence of an ancient, celestial symphony. Undeterred, Dylan transitioned into the convergence maneuver. Blue 3 and Green 9 were activated, Tempo and Rhythm executing a cross block that deflected the messenger's vicious strike. The blades sang through the air, adding 2 3D-GRs to the fabric of their combat, weaving an intricate dance of death and deliverance. Suddenly, from the portal, a mob of evil surged forth, grotesque forms driven by a malevolent will. Dylan E.T. faced the encroaching horde with unwavering resolve. With deft thumb movements, he set the hilts to orange 8 and purple 7, activating retaliation. The estocs moved as one, striking down leftward with synchronic precision, each motion adding to the growing complexity of the 3D-GR landscape. The demonic messenger, seeing its minions falter, lunged with renewed fury. Dylan, his movements fluid and deliberate, executed disarmament. Green 9 and Green 9 combined to add 2 more 3D-GRs, Tempo and Rhythm performing an intricate maneuver that sent the messenger's weapon clattering to the ground. Disarmed and reeling, the creature snarled in frustration, its malevolent eyes burning with a desperate fire. As Dylan E.T. prepared for the final strike, a shadow loomed over the battlefield, heralding a new, unseen threat. The air grew heavier, the portal's glow intensifying as if foretelling the arrival of something far more sinister. Dylan's grip tightened on his estocs, the number-color sides of the 3D-GR hilts flickering in anticipation. The scene froze in a moment of breathless tension, the cliffhanger drawing tight the strings of fate. Dylan E.T. stood, a solitary figure against the encroaching darkness, ready to face whatever doom awaited. The infernal portal to hell yawned wider, an abyssal maw through which the very essence of despair seeped into the mortal plane. The air grew thick with the stench of brimstone, and the ground trembled as if recoiling from the malevolent force that now threatened to breach its boundaries. Dylan E.T., standing amidst the fallen minions of darkness and the disarmed demonic messenger, sensed the shift, a harbinger of something far more formidable. A deep, Guttural roar emanated from the depths of the portal, a sound that reverberated through the fabric of reality itself. The shadows within the rift swirled and coalesced, taking on a form that defied comprehension. Flames burst forth, licking the edges of the portal, casting a hellish glow that seemed to consume the light around it. From the conflagration stepped a Balrog, a colossal entity of darkness and fire, its form both terrifying and awe-inspiring. Its towering frame was wreathed in flames, muscles rippling beneath a charred, leathery hide. Great, bat-like wings unfurled, spreading wide to blot out the sky. In one massive hand, it wielded a flaming whip that crackled and hissed with deadly intent. In the other, a sword forged in the deepest pits of the underworld, its blade a searing arc of molten steel. The Balrog's eyes, twin orbs of blazing fury, locked onto Dylan Et, promising a doom that few could comprehend, let alone survive. Each step it took shook the ground, each breath it exhaled seared the air. It was a force of primordial chaos, a relic of ancient times when gods and demons waged war for dominion over creation. Dylan Et, undeterred by the monstrous presence, tightened his grip on the hilts of tempo and rhythm. The 3D-GR technology within the estocs hummed with energy, their number-color sides flickering in anticipation of the battle to come. He thumbed the controls, preparing to unleash the full might of phonetic additive swordplay. "Balrog of the Abyss," Dylan called out, his voice resolute and unwavering, "your reign of terror ends here. I am the Doom Heretic Hunter, and by my hand, you shall fall." The Balrog roared in response, a sound that shook the heavens and sent tremors through the earth. It lashed out with its flaming whip, a searing arc of fire aimed to engulf Dylan. With swift precision, Dylan activated Viper and Blue 3, initiating the equilibrium maneuver. Tempo held the Viper position, maintaining a defensive stance, while Rhythm added a 3D-GR to the landscape, diverting the fiery onslaught. The Balrog, undeterred, swung its molten sword in a sweeping arc. Dylan countered with the convergence maneuver, setting Blue 3 and Green 9. Tempo and Rhythm crossed in a flawless block, the impact resonating through his very bones, adding 2 more 3D-GRs to their intricate dance. With the battle escalating, Dylan transitioned to the graceful maneuver, Yellow 2 and Purple 7. Tempo and Rhythm moved in a fluid waltz, adding a 3D-GR rightward and executing an inverted strike that danced past the Balrog's defenses, scoring a hit on its fiery hide. The beast roared in fury, its flames flaring brighter, but Dylan pressed on, unwavering. In a desperate gambit, the Balrog unleashed a torrent of hellfire, its very essence poured into a devastating attack. Dylan activated the Echoes maneuver, combining Purple 7 and Orange 8. Rhythm added a 3D-GR leftward towards the anchoring 3D-GR, while Tempo executed an inverted addition, their synchronized movements resonating with the landscape's rhythm and tempo. The battle raged on, a symphony of steel, fire, and unyielding will. Dylan Et, with every strike, every maneuver, wove a tapestry of defiance against the encroaching darkness. The Balrog, a titan of the abyss, met its match in the indomitable spirit of the Doom Heretic Hunter. And as the flames of the Balrog burned ever brighter, a new tension gripped the battlefield, a sense that this clash was but the beginning of a far greater struggle. The fate of realms hung in the balance, and Dylan Et, standing against the infernal titan, knew that his true test had only just begun. The battle against the Balrog raged on, a symphony of clashing steel and roaring flames. Dylan Et, the Doom Heretic Hunter, stood his ground amidst the chaos, his mind working with the precision of a master tactician. He knew that to gain the upper hand, he had to outmaneuver the colossal beast and find a position that would allow him to leverage his skills and the power of the 3DGR technology to its fullest. Tempo, rhythm, he muttered to his blades, it's time to take the high ground. Surveying the battlefield, Dylan spotted a craggy outcrop of rock rising above the infernal plain. It offered a strategic vantage point from which he could better combat the Balrog's overwhelming might. But to reach it, he would have to carve a path through the swarming lesser demons that now encircled him. With a determined glint in his eye, Dylan initiated the duet maneuver, activating red 1 and yellow 2 on the hilts of tempo and rhythm. The estocs moved in perfect synchrony, cleaving through the demonic horde with precise, lethal strikes. Each swing of his blades added 3DGRs to the landscape, weaving a path through the writhing mass of evil. A particularly large demon lunged at him, claws outstretched. Dylan countered with the retaliation maneuver, orange 8 and purple 7. Tempo and rhythm struck down leftward in a synchronic inverted addition, cutting the demon down with swift, calculated ferocity. The beast fell, its lifeless body dissolving into the ether. Keep moving, Dylan urged himself, eyes fixed on the high ground. He transitioned into the graceful maneuver, yellow 2 and purple 7, a fluid waltz that added a 3DGR rightward while rhythm executed an inverted strike. Demons fell left and right as he pressed forward, the rhythmic dance of his blades creating a symphony of destruction. As he neared the base of the rocky outcrop, the Balrog unleashed a torrent of hellfire, its flaming whip lashing out in a bid to stop him. Dylan responded with the equilibrium maneuver, Viper and Blue 3. Tempo held the Viper position, maintaining a defensive stance, while rhythm added a 3DGR rightward, diverting the infernal flames. Dylan's ascent began in earnest, his feet finding purchase on the rough stone. The demons clawed at his heels, but he was undeterred. With the convergence maneuver, Blue 3 and Green 9, he executed a cross block that deflected their attacks, adding 2 more 3DGRs to the battlefield as he climbed. Reaching halfway up the outcrop, he paused to catch his breath. The Balrog, enraged by his progress, roared and sent a wave of fire cascading down the rock face. Dylan, ever vigilant, activated the Echoes maneuver, purple 7 and orange 8. Rhythm added a 3DGR leftward towards the anchoring 3DGR, while tempo executed an inverted addition, the synchronization of their movements resonating through the landscape and creating a temporary barrier against the flames. Finally, Dylan reached the summit of the outcrop, his chest heaving with exertion. He stood tall, the high ground now his. From this vantage point, he could see the entirety of the battlefield, the swarming demons below, the raging Balrog, and the infernal portal that continued to spew forth malevolence. The Balrog, sensing its quarry had gained a strategic advantage, spread its massive wings and began its ascent, aiming to meet Dylan on equal footing. Dylan knew he had to act quickly. He thumbed the controls of tempo and rhythm, setting them to the disarmament maneuver, Green 9 and Green 9. As the Balrog closed in, the estocs executed an intricate maneuver that sent the beast's flaming whip clattering to the ground below. Balrog! Dylan shouted, his voice carrying across the battlefield. Your time has come. With the Balrog now weaponless, Dylan prepared for the final confrontation. He knew that from this high ground, with the power of the 3DGR technology and his own unyielding spirit, he could face the beast on his terms. The air crackled with tension, the flames of the Balrog burning ever brighter as it advanced. Dylan E.T., the Doom Heretic Hunter, stood ready, the high ground his, the final battle at hand. The high ground provided Dylan E.T. with a commanding view of the battlefield and a strategic advantage against the towering Balrog. The beast, now weaponless but still a formidable force of fire and darkness, stared up at him with eyes burning like twin suns of malevolence. The infernal portal continued to spew forth legions of lesser demons, but they were of little concern now. Dylan's focus was solely on the monstrous titan below. With tempo and rhythm humming in his hands, Dylan formulated his plan. He thumbed the number-color sides of the 3DGR hilts, preparing to unleash a cascade of synchronized maneuvers that would encase the Balrog in an intricate web of 3DGR. His mind raced with calculations, his resolve steeled by the knowledge that this final gambit could turn the tide. Balrog. Dylan's voice rang out, clear and resolute. Your reign of terror ends now. Prepare to face the full might of the 3DGR. With that, Dylan leapt from the high ground, his estocs blazing with energy. He initiated the first maneuver in midair, convergence. Blue 3 and green 9 activated, tempo and rhythm executing a cross block that added two 3DGRs, the initial components of a cascading structure. The trails of energy followed his descent, illuminating the dark battlefield with their radiant glow. As Dylan descended, he transitioned seamlessly into the duet maneuver, red 1 and yellow 2. The estocs moved in perfect harmony, tempo and rhythm adding two more 3DGRs to the forming lattice. The Balrog, sensing the encroaching threat, roared and lashed out with its remaining arm, but Dylan's trajectory kept him just out of reach. Landing with cat-like agility, Dylan rolled and sprang to his feet, instantly engaging the Echo's maneuver, purple 7 and orange 8. Rhythm added a 3DGR leftward towards the anchoring 3DGR, while tempo executed an inverted addition. The structure began to encircle the Balrog, each added 3DGR creating a tightening net of energy and matter. Feel the weight of justice, demon. Dylan shouted, his voice carrying over the din of battle. He thumbed the controls again, setting tempo and rhythm to the graceful maneuver, yellow 2 and purple 7. The estocs moved in a fluid dance, adding another layer to the encasement. The Balrog struggled against the growing lattice, its fiery form straining against the 3DGR's binding force. Dylan pressed his advantage, initiating the retaliation maneuver, orange 8 and purple 7. Tempo and rhythm struck in synchronic inverted addition, the 3DGRs weaving a dense, impenetrable cage around the Balrog. The beast roared in fury, its flames flaring brighter in a desperate bid for freedom, but the 3DGR structure held firm. With each movement, Dylan added more 3DGRs, their trails cascading and intertwining in a complex pattern of containment. He executed the equilibrium maneuver, Viper and Blue 3. Tempo held the Viper position, maintaining a defensive stance, while rhythm added a 3DGR rightward, fortifying the encasement. Your power is bound, Balrog, Dylan declared, his eyes blazing with determination. Now, feel the might of the 3DGR. In a final, decisive move, Dylan initiated the disarmament maneuver, green 9 and green 9. Tempo and rhythm executed actions that added the last 3DGRs needed to complete the encasement. The structure solidified, glowing with an ethereal light that bathed the battlefield in its radiant brilliance. The Balrog, now fully encased, strained against its bonds, but the 3DGR lattice held fast, its power unbreakable. Dylan E.T., standing amidst the glowing web of 3DGR, gazed upon his handiwork. The Balrog, once a towering symbol of infernal might, was now a prisoner of its own fury, contained within the shimmering lattice of energy and matter. The battlefield fell silent, the lesser demons retreating back into the portal, their leader defeated. You are bound, Balrog, Dylan said, his voice echoing with authority. And by the power of the 3DGR, you shall never threaten this world again. The portal to hell began to close, its malevolent energy dissipating as the last of the demons were pulled back into the abyss. Dylan E.T., the Doom Heretic Hunter, stood victorious, his estocs sheathed and his resolve unbroken. The battle was won, but the war against darkness continued. And with the power of the 3DGR, Dylan was ready for whatever lay ahead.